Okay, so again, good morning, everyone. So before we start our session for this morning, allow me first to give you a brief introduction about how we come up to this kind of modality, and of course, for me to introduce myself to everyone. So let us all watch this. As long as the world has not found a cure or a vaccine for COVID-19, we may have to adjust to a new normal, meaning a new way of living and going about our lives, work, and interactions with people. Education should not be spared. As educators, we have to replan our targets and strategies in order that our students can continue learning. That's why ODL, or the online distance learning, is one of the best ways to cope this global health threat, because we should not deprive the students' future just because we have this unseen threat looming around us. We have to innovate and calibrate our approaches. COVID-19 should not make us captives of its fatality, but we have to continue to make teaching fun, informative, and entertaining during this challenging time. Good morning, my dear 12 STEM A students. I am Sir Johnis, and I will be your teacher on General Chemistry 1. So today's most essential learning competency that I'm going to discuss with you is use of properties of matter to identify substances and to separate them. So again, welcome to our General Chemistry 1 virtual class. Let's have fun while learning. Okay, so again, good morning everyone. So again, I will be introducing myself to everyone. So I will be your General Chemistry 1 teacher. I am Sir Johnis. Okay, so this morning, before we go on to our lesson proper, I would like first to give the house rules. So in order for us to have a harmonious virtual class this morning, allow me first to give to you our simple house rules. Okay, the first one is, please set your microphone to mute. Another, turn it on only during the Q&A or once I called you to recite. The third one is, always turn on your camera. And the fourth is, you should listen attentively to the teacher, because from time to time, I will be asking questions about our lesson. Number 5, you should participate actively during discussion and activities, because I can monitor those students who are really helping during activity. Lastly, do not abuse the chat box. So those are just the basic house rules that we need to follow in order for us to have a fun and engaging virtual class this morning. So before we go on to our objectives for this morning, I would like to remind everyone that I will be checking your attendance twice, before, during, and after, and I will be using an application which is called the Google Meet Attendance Collector. And as far as I observe, and I have listed already, there are only 21 students who joined already our meeting. So for those who failed to join our meeting, if their reasons are valid due to internet connection loss, I will be sending to them the video recording of this online class for this morning. Okay? So are the house rules class clear? Are the house rules clear? Okay, thank you so much for the response. So this time, okay, so on the video I presented a while ago, I already mentioned there our milk, or the most essential learning competency that we are going to discuss for this morning. So I know everyone is equally excited for your first lesson in General Chemistry 1. So here are now the following objectives that you are going to learn. So can I request somebody from the class? So Hazel, to please read the first objective.
Describe the physical and chemical.
Okay, thank you so much. For the second objective, please read Benedict.
Differentiate intensive form from extensive physical.
Again, David, could you please read it again?
Differentiate intensive form from extensive physical property.
Okay, very good. So the third one, kindly read Miss Gonzalez. Is Miss Gonzalez? Okay.
Give examples on physical property of matter.
Okay, thank you so much. And for the fourth objective, please read Samuel.
Describe and identify simple separation techniques.
And for our last objective, Donfer, please read it. Donfer, please. Okay, instead of Donfer, can I call Gilbert?
Explain the concept on how properties of matter can identify and separate substance.
Okay, thank you so much. So these are the following objectives that you are going to learn as we proceed to our discussion for this morning. So the question now is, are you now ready for our first lesson in General Chemistry 1? Are you all ready now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you so much for that response. So let us now start the ball rolling. So to start our lesson, I'd like you to observe and study the pictures that I am going to display. So I will just be giving 15 seconds for you to observe and study those pictures, and after which, I will be asking some differences about it as well as its similarity. Okay, so your 15 seconds starts now. Okay, time's up. Can somebody from the class give to me some difference between those pictures or these pictures? Anyone from the class who would like to answer? Okay, can I call the student who just joined in? Ribustilio, could you please give me some difference about these pictures?
The difference, sir, between those pictures are the phone and the laptop and the coin and the puppy are solid. The water is obviously a liquid, and the hot air balloon contains gas.
Okay, very good for that, Ribustilio. So that is actually the most basic difference between these pictures. How about now the similarities between this picture? Can I request Daniel Alejandro to please give to me one basic difference between these pictures?
The basic difference between the pictures may be that some of these are man-made and some are not.
Okay, very good also. So, how about now the similarity? Anyone from the class who can give to me one common similarity between these pictures? Okay, can I request Colina Carl?
I think one of the similarities of these six pictures is they all have mass or weight.
Okay, very good for that. And aside from those things that you have mentioned, these pictures are all considered as matter. Okay, so if these pictures are all considered as matter, who can now give to me a simple or the very basic definition of what matter is? Anyone? So I am very sure during your junior high school grade, this is repeatedly mentioned by your science teacher. So anyone from the class who would like to give to me a basic or simple definition of what matter is?
Sir, may I try?
Okay?
Matter is anything that occupies space.
Okay, very good. So when we say class matter, obviously it is anything that has mass and which occupies space. And also, one of your classmates already said a while ago that one difference between these pictures is when it comes to their state of matter. Because obviously, how many states of matter do we have? Aldrich, how many states of matter do you think we have? Okay, very good. We have 3 states of matter. And what are those 3, Aldrich? Could you please enumerate them?
Solid, liquid, gas.
Okay, very good. So if you can still remember, class, those pictures I've showed to you, what are those pictures which is considered as solid? Give me one. Talento. From those pictures, if you could still remember. Anyone? How about you, Samuel? Give me those pictures which are considered as solid.
The pictures that are solid are the laptops, cell phone, the puppies, and the coins.
Okay, very good. So these are all class considered as solid. So if this is class an example of solid material, what can you say about its molecular structure? If you're going to describe its molecular structure, what can you say about it if it is solid?
It's compact, sir.
Okay, very good. It is compacted from one another. How about now, class, the picture which is an example of solid? Which among those pictures I've shown to you is an example of a liquid matter? Mansera. Mansera, are you still there?
Yes, sir. The
Okay. Yes, please. Ah, okay, very good. So water is an example of a liquid. A while ago, your classmate said that the molecular structure of solid is compacted. How about now in liquid? What can you say about the structure of molecules if it is liquid? Balasta.
The molecules are slightly far apart from each other.
Very good. So always remember when we say liquid, the molecular structure are just slightly separated from one another. And of course, from the picture I have shown to you a while ago, the example of a gas is this hot air balloon. Therefore, what is now the molecular structure of a gas? Katrina.
Hello, sir.
Yes, the molecular structure.
The molecular structure of gas, it is far away from each other, or they are apart from each other.
Okay, very good. So you are probably correct. So always remember that when it comes to the molecular structure of a gas matter, it is apart from one another. So again, those are the 3 basic states of matter: the solid, the liquid, and the gas. They all differ when it comes to their molecular structure. So this morning, before we go on to our main lesson for this morning, and for me to know more about your prior knowledge about our lesson, we will be having first a group activity. So these are just some of the instructions that you need to follow in order for you to come up with the correct answer. So first, the class will be divided into 3 groups. Since there are 22 students who joined in our meeting, so I will be dividing you into 3. So most probably, 22 divided by 3, ilan? So you will be having 7 groups. Pero yung isang grupo magiging 4 na members. Okay? So each group will be given a different activity to be answered. The group activity can be found in our Google Classroom. So as we proceed to our Google Classroom, we will have first a short tour about it for you to be oriented on this platform that we are using in order for us to have a harmonious virtual class this morning. Okay? The fourth one is only 5 minutes time will be given to each group to work for it. And one member will present their output for only 2 to 3 minutes. Okay? And this is now the rubrics for scoring that I will be observing to each group. The correctness of the output, you will receive 5 if all of your answers are correct, 3 if there is one mistake or error, and 1 there are 2 or more errors committed by each group. The second criterion is the presentation. 5 if it is well presented, 3 if not so well presented, 1 there is no presenter from the group. The third one is timeliness. If you finish it on or before the given time, you will be given 5. If you finish it and you extended some time, you will just earn 3 points. At kung hindi natapos, 1. Behavior. Sir, we are on online class. How will you be able to know the behavior of us? So I will just depend on how your group collaborate during the activity. Kasi po, nakikita naman if who among the members of the group is really working doon sa Google slide na gagamitin natin. So 5, if all are cooperating. 3, if there is one member who is not cooperating. And 1, if there are 2 or more members who are not cooperating. Okay, so is the rubric for scoring clear, class? Yes or no? Class? Okay, so thank you so much for the response. So this time, let us now proceed to our group activity. So we will be having first a short tour on our Google Classroom. Okay? So the title of our Google Classroom is General Chemistry 1. And if you're going to notice under classwork, there are already group activities that you can see, individual activity, the evaluation, and assignment. So at this point, I will just be sending to each group your respective activity. So I am just going to base on the attendance for this morning. That's why, allow me first to edit in few seconds para po malaman natin at for us to be sure na talagang merong students na magtatrabaho. Okay? So, since you are 22, so 7 members each group. So, Benedict will be group 1. Benedict, Karael, Colina. So, your groupings depend on kung anong oras kayo pumasok sa meeting. Espiritu. Where is Espiritu? What is the first name of Espiritu? Class. Okay, Kishafe. Thank you for that. Kishafe. Nasaan si Espiritu? Okay, so as of now, you are already 26. Okay, next is Hazel Ross. Hazel. Where is Hazel? Hazel. So I have changed the groupings because the total number of students is not 50. Okay? So, give me some seconds. Okay, so, talento. What is the first name of talento? Okay, Jess. Okay, thank you for that. And the last member of group 1 is Gonzales. What is the first name of Gonzales? Pardon, please? Okay. So, These are now the members of group 1. So I will be posting now your group activity, okay? Okay, for the activity of group 2, also please give me some time to edit also the members of the group. Mansera. What is the first name of Mansera? Class, what is the first name of Mansera? Irish. Thank you. Mansera Irish. Where is she? Okay, so as far as I observed, si Irish parang hindi po ata nakapasok dito sa ating class with the code. Parang diretso sa link. However, I'm still going to look for his name. Proceed tayo kay Samuel Elijah para mas mabilis tayo. Next, Prula Katrina. Next is Bilo Joey. Next is Pamparo. What is the first name of Pamparo? William. Galit ka po? Hindi naman. William. Eto si William. Okay. Aldrich Murse. Aldrich. Where is Aldrich? Saan si Aldrich? Next, Balasta. Downfer. Bakit hindi ko mahanap yung iba? Downfer.
Sir, andun ata po sa baba.
Dito?
Ay, wala naman. Or baka po, sir, nasa pinakataas.
Sige, let me see.
Ayun na po, sir. Sa baba po.
Okay. Aldrich. Next, Donfer. Atondo. So this is the problem that we will be encountering if not all students really join our meeting. So during the actual class online teaching, please make sure that before the given time by your teacher, you already join the meeting so that we will not spend more time looking for your name for the new setting of your group members. Okay, next time po, please take note of that. Sabania. What's the first name of Sabania? Ay, Sabaria, sorry. Okay? Okay na po. So, I'll be posting now the activity of Group 2. Okay, posted already. Next, for the Group 3. So, simula tayo kay Daniel Alejandro. Next is Cheska. What's the first name of Cheska? Ay, surname? Pardon, please. Daniel Alejandro. Wait for a while.
Nasa baba po, sir. Sa pinakababa. Dito, ay, nalampasan mo.
Sa may saan?
Higher po. Yan na po, sir, sa ano. Saan ako naman?
Saan po dito? Ano pangalan nun? Cheska?
Yes po. Cheska Polidori.
Si Dario, wala pa din. Brutas. Burse. Cheska. Okay, I found you already, Cheska. Ibustilio. Okay. Ay, 6 students lang. Okay, so I will be posting now the activity for group 3. Okay, so again, I am just going to give you 5 minutes to perform the activity and my time here is 8:57. So you will be finishing the group activity by 9:02. So your 5 minutes starts now. Okay, so I am happy to see that the members of group 1 is really now doing their work. Okay, because as far as I observe, you are now classifying those pictures given if which among those pictures is under physical properties and chemical properties. Very good for that. How about for the group 2? Okay, very good also. So the members now are collaborating to come up with your answer. Okay, very good. Okay, so this time I'm seeing Miss Sabaria, Mr. Sabaria, Miss Katrina typing their answers. Very good for that. Okay, next for the group 3, let me see if you are really working now with your output. Okay, very good also. So 2 members of group 3 are already working. So Cheska, Chris Mark, and Samantha. Very good. So, okay, so please work for it for 5 minutes. So again, by 9:02, you should be ready with the presentation. Yes po?
Di po ako napasok dun sa group 2 po.
Sige. What is your name, please?
Balasta Marinal po.
Balasta Marinel. Okay, so sorry if I failed to group you to the 3 groups po.
Ay, sa
So,
group 2 po ako nilagay pero di po nasama.
Okay, sige.
Tapos may iba rin po sa
Apo. Okay, by the way, for those students who failed to be grouped with the members, I would like to request Espiritu to join the group 1, Balasta to group 2, Burse, and Bibat for group 3. Okay? Thank you. Okay, last 2 minutes to work for your activity. By the way, I would like to remind you students that if you are going to look for your answer in Google po, please make sure to acknowledge the sources. Okay, you need to get also or include the source kung saan nyo po kinuha. That is actually very important. Again, I would like to remind that if you're going to research in Google, please make sure to include the source. All right, so time's up. So can I request everyone now to please stop working with the activity given to your group, because at this point, we should now proceed to the presentation of the output. Okay, so this time, we will start the presentation with the group 2. Okay, so anyone from the group 2 would like to present your output. By the way, kung hindi po kaya ninyong ma-present yung output, please tell me para ako po yung mag-present dito and you will be the one who will explain your output. Okay? So let's start with the presentation of the group 2. Okay, who will be the presenter for group 2, please? So the members of... Okay, you may introduce first yourself to everyone.
Okay pa. Wait lang po. I-ready ko lang po yung presentation.
Sure. Thank you so much, Alejandro, for volunteering yourself to be the presenter of your group's output. Thank you so much.
No problem, sir. So, nakikita niyo po ba?
Yes.
So, good morning, everyone. Good morning, teachers and classmates. My name is Alejandro Luis S. Sabarya. And here is Group 2's activity, and this is the given task to us. So, the direction is, with the aid of the diagram, how can we separate the two substances, iron fillings and sand, inside the petri dish? Explain why you use that way. So here is our answers. Here are our answers. With the use of a magnet, wait, let me use the pointer. Okay. With the use of magnet, because of its attractive property, which attracts ferromagnetic materials such as iron, cobalt, and nickel. Since the given material was iron fillings, so it is considered as iron, so it is a ferromagnetic material. So, through magnetic separation is a process in which magnetically susceptible material is attracted from a mixture using magnetic force. This is best way to separate the mixture of sand and iron fillings, as iron is attracted by magnet. So that's our answer, sir.
Okay, thank you so much for that well-presented output. By the way, Alejandro, it is not pronounced as fillings, it is filings. Okay, iron filings. Okay, very good, Alejandro. Okay, this time, let's now proceed to the presentation of the group 1. Who will be the presenter for group 1? Anyone from the group 1? So I'm happy to see that you really included on your output the source kung saan po kinuha ninyo yung sagot ninyo. Very good for that. Okay? Anyone from group 1 members who would like to present their output? So there are 5 members. Benedict, Carl, Susmita, Hazel. Anyone from those students? Anyone? Or I'm just going to pick from this member kung sino po ang magpipresent. Okay, so can I request Hazel Ross to please present your output? Again, kung hindi po kayang ma-present using your device, the presentation, please tell me po so that I will be the one who will present to your classmates, but you are the one who will explain it, okay? Kaya po ba, Hazel? Hazel, are you still there? Group 1? Naririnig po ba ako? Can you still hear me, class? Hello?
Yes po, sir.
Yes po, sir. Yes po.
Okay, yes. So, who would like to present now the output? Kung hindi available ata si Hazel. Anyone from the group 1 members? Susmita, could you please present your output? Okay, not available then. How about Carl? So I'm hoping this time Carl will present now the output of your group. Carl?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Carl. Okay, please present now the output.
So good morning. This is the work of group 1. So directions. Using the given features, be able to classify them whether under physical property or chemical property, and be able to explain why did you place those features on that particular property. So here are the features that we put on physical properties: the crumpled paper, the melting ice, and the broken pencil. And the features that we put in chemical properties is the fried egg, the rusty chains, and the fireworks. So explanations on the physical property. Number one, the melting ice cube. When you melt an ice cube, you have a physical change because you add energy. So we can simply say that it undergoes physical change, which is melting from solid to liquid, or the phase change. Physical actions such as changing temperature or pressure can cause physical changes. And here is the source. Number two, the crumpled paper only shows physical property since its composition did not change and only the appearance and texture change. Next is the broken pencil. Also, it did not change its composition and only changed physically. So sa daling sabi, yung physical property, um, in innate property siya na nag-show lang itself, and sa chemical property naman, shows at is as it changes or interacts with other substance. Kaya nagki-chemical property lang kapag nagka-interact sa ibang substance. At ang physical property naman as sa shows by itself lang. So next naman sa chemical property, sa number one, the fried egg or cooked egg, it's a set of is physical change because chemical bonds are broken and new ones are made, resulting in the formation of new substance. Sa rusty chains naman, rust is formed because of oxidation reaction when oxygen reacts to iron, and makikita na may interaction between two elements or substance po. Sa sunod naman, yung fireworks po, may chemical change doon kaya since mag-interaction ng mga different elements or substance, kaya sa chemical property po siya. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Carl, for that well-presented output. So based from your output, if I am going to summarize it, when we say physical property, these are kind of matter or material which only undergo physical change, while chemical properties are those matter which undergo chemical reaction wherein there is new substance form. That's why we can consider it under chemical property. Very good for that, Carl. Okay, for the last group, let us now proceed to the presentation of Group 3. So anyone from the Group 3 would like now to present your output. So we have here Samantha, Chrismar, Alejandro, and Jessica. Who among from you would like to present your output? Anyone would like to volunteer? Anyone who has a brave soul to present your output? Okay, thank you so much. Please present now your output. Sige lang, take your time. So the one who will present from the Group 3 is Cheska. Cheska, if you cannot share your presentation, please tell me because I will be the one to share it, okay?
Ikaw na lang po, sir.
Sige. I'll be the one who will present your output. Okay. Sige na po. Introduce first yourself to everyone.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cheska Polidario, and this is the work of Group 2. So, the direction for us is with the shown features on the next slide, what physical property can be used for us to identify the variations of the three things. So, in order to identify the variation of our certain substances, we have the properties such as color, odor, phase, density, melting point, boiling point, conductivity, and hardness. So, what is the importance of that property for us to identify certain systems? So, the importance of this physical properties is that we can identify the physical properties without the use of instrument and without knowing the exact composition of the matter. That's all.
Okay, thank you so much for that well-presented output also. So I am very happy that each group really exerted effort, collaborated with your members. That's why you come up with with that kind of answer. So as we go on to our discussion for this morning, you will be able to know if those answers that you have just said are correct or not. And I would like to remind that before we end our discussion, I will be giving the scores obtained by each group. So you yourself can identify whether your answers given during the presentation is correct or not. Okay? So this time, we shall now proceed to our main agenda for this morning. Okay. So, since our lesson for this morning will talk about properties of matter, again, for us to easily understand our lesson for this morning, let us first unlock or give a very basic definition of what property is. Anyone from the class? Anyone who can give to me a basic definition of what property is? Anyone? Can I request Aldrich? Aldrich, based from your own word, what do you think is a property? How will you define it?
A property is a properties. Property meaning is kung ano daw po sa person is that he owns or he has its own quality po, sir. Property meaning.
Okay, so based from what you have mentioned, you mentioned the quality. Very good. So actually, that is one basic definition when we speak or talk about property. Other than that, anyone who can give another simple definition? Okay, so characteristics are actually correct. So the most basic word that we can associate to the word property is special quality or quality will do. And the second one is characteristic. So this morning we will be dealing about the special quality or characteristics of matter. And I am seeing also that there is somebody from the chat box who answered characteristic, and that is Gilbert. You are also correct. Okay? So aside from this property, it means that matter has its quality and has its characteristic. So, these properties of matter is categorized into two. What are those two? Those are the physical properties and the chemical properties. So, let's focus first on the first property, which is the physical. Okay? So, this time, I'm going to show you again some pictures and tell me some similarity or difference between the objects that I'm going to show. Okay, first pictures, the rubber bands and the copper wire. Anyone who would like to give one similarity or difference about it? Joey, could you please give to me one similarity or difference between the object? Okay, according to Alejandro, they differ in elasticity. Okay, you have mentioned, you are actually correct, Alejandro. But when we say class elastic in your physics class, when we say elastic, what does it mean in your physics class? Does it have the ability to go back on its original form after we stretch it? Yes or no? Yes, very good, Donfer. You are probably correct. Okay, so that's one difference between these two objects. Okay, so aside from that, the first picture, which is the rubber band is considered to be elastic, while the other one is not. The rubber band is soft, and the other one is not. Okay? The rubber band and the copper wire can be easily bent from each other. How about the second set of picture? Cotton balls and rock. Anyone from the class? Okay, according to William, they differ when it comes to hardness. Obviously, that is correct. So the second picture tells us that these cotton balls and rock are both solid. However, the cotton ball is soft while the rock is hard. Very good for that. How about the third one? Hair and sandpapers. Kung nahihiya pong sumagot, please feel free to chat your answer in our chat box because I am seeing your answers po. Okay, according to Alejandro, they differ when it comes to texture. Pati din po si Joey and Benedict. Very good. So your answers are all correct. So the third picture, the hair is smooth, the sandpaper is rough. So they differ when it comes to texture. Therefore, in giving the similarities or differences of the objects shown, what did you consider, class, for you to easily describe those pictures I've shown to you? What makes it easy for you to describe them? Anyone? Okay, very good. By simply looking at their physical appearance, we can easily identify those things easily, okay? So this time, based from those pictures, can anyone from the class give to me your own definition of what physical property? Anyone who would like to answer? Okay, can I hear a simple answer coming from Donfer? Donfer, could you please give me a brief or a simple definition of what physical property is?
Physical properties are like, for example, if it is measurable or like the appearance of the matter.
Okay, okay, very good. You have mentioned on your answer the appearance. So actually, for us to easily identify a certain thing, we should just look into its appearance or physical attributes. Okay, that is actually correct. And thank you so much for that answer, Donfer. Okay, so can I request Samuel to please read the definition of what physical property is? Samuel?
Physical properties are features or characteristics that describes an object or substance such as the color, shape, size, density, melting point, and boiling point.
Okay, so thank you so much. So if you're going to notice on my definition, the word describe is written in bold and capital text. So that is actually the key word for you to easily give the most basic definition of what physical property is. The moment you give a description or the moment you describe a certain thing, you are actually giving now a physical property of that. Okay, so it includes the color, the shape, the size, the density, the melting point, and the boiling point. Okay, so if you're going to notice what color of uniform I am wearing this morning, can somebody describe it for me? Anyone from the class? Carl. By simply looking at the uniform I am wearing this morning, could you please describe it? Unless may colorblind sa inyo dito. Anyone from the class? Kung nahihiyang sumagot, you can type again your answer in our chat box. Wala, nahihiya? How about you, Benedict?
White, sir.
Okay, very good. So, in order for you to describe my uniform color, what did you use? Or, yes, ano yung ginamit mo for you to easily describe the uniform that I am wearing this morning?
Yung color po, sir.
Okay, very good. You use your eyes. So, Hazel, the color of my uniform that I am wearing is not sky blue po. It's white. Okay? So, very good for your answer. For you to describe the uniform that I am wearing, you should use your eyes. So, in short, in giving a description to a certain thing, we should use our senses for us to come up with its physical property. Okay, very good for that. So this physical property class is also categorized into two, the extensive and the intensive physical property. How are we going to differentiate it from one another? Anyone who has a prior knowledge about the difference between the two? Do you have a prior knowledge about the difference between extensive and intensive physical property? Who would like to answer? Okay?
So, ang based sir from my prior knowledge, ang extensive property po sir is about the amount of substance an a thing has. Tapos ang intensive property po sir like yung mga observable siya sir, observables like to describing facts about sa bagay na yun.
Okay, very good for that. So actually, your prior knowledge about it is correct. So when we say class extensive, we are actually referring to the physical properties that do depend on the amount of substance present. Again, please observe the text written in bold. So ibig sabihin, it depends on the amount of substance. An example of it are the following: the mass, the volume, and the length. So for you to easily understand about the concept of extensive physical property, I am going here to give you an examples. The first statement is, the weight of a pig is 87 kilograms. So what is that amount of substance given on the statement for us to say that it is an example of extensive physical property? Cheska, based from that statement, what amount of substance is present for us to say that yes, it is an example of extensive physical property? Cheska?
Yes po, sir. Pakiulit.
Okay, my question is, based from the statement, the weight of a pig is 87 kilograms, what is that thing or the amount of substance given for us to say that it is an example of extensive physical property?
The weight of the pig, which is 87 kilograms.
Okay, so tama din po si Donfer. So the amount of substance given is 87 kilograms. So always remember, if there is an exact amount of substance given, it is always an example of extensive physical property. The second statement, please read, Donfer.
1 jug of water contains 8 liters.
Okay, what is now the amount of substance present on that statement?
8 liters.
Okay, that's why it is also an example of extensive physical property. Thank you so much, Donfer. For the last statement, who would like to read? Anyone from the class? Okay, Carl. Colina Carl.
The size of her shoe is 10 inches.
Okay, so what is that exact amount of substance given on the statement?
10 inches.
Okay, very good. That's why it is also an example of extensive physical property. So is extensive physical property now clear to everyone? Yes or no? Please type your answer in our chat box if you understand now the concept of it. Okay, clear according to Alejandro. Very good. So this time, let's now proceed to the second type or classification, which is now the intensive physical property. So obviously, this is the opposite of the extensive because according to your classmate, as he gave the difference between the two, if extensive depend on the amount of substance, this intensive physical property do not depend on the amount of substance. Ibig sabihin, it do not change with the changes of size, shape, or scale. So I have here an example. Please read the first statement. Aldrich.
Po, sir. Ulit na po.
Could you please read the first statement?
Aluminum metal is gray color.
Okay, so How was the aluminum metal described? Aldrich.
It is described by its color.
Very good, Aldrich. Another, second statement. Could you please read it, Mansera?
H2O has a boiling point of 100 degrees Celsius.
Okay, how do you read the compound H2O, Mansera?
Water, sir.
Okay, very good. So always remember the compound H2O is read as water. So water has a boiling point of 100 degrees Celsius. So how was water described on this statement, Mansera?
It has a boiling point of 100 degrees Celsius.
Okay, ibig sabihin, we describe it when it in terms of its boiling point. Very good. The third one, would like to read. Okay, Daniel Alejandro. Okay, na-disconnect daw si Alejandro. Okay, so I am going to call Carl. Carl, please read the third statement.
TNHS is under a very large category size of school.
Okay, so as you read the statement, how was the TNHS described on the statement?
It was described that TNHS is a very large category. It's a very
Okay,
large school.
okay, ibig sabihin, we describe our school according to its size. So ibig sabihin, class, with these three statements given to you, pag sinabi nating intensive, we are just simply giving the facts about a certain thing or we just describe it. So if you're going to notice, there is no exact amount given of the particular substance. We just describe it or we just give some fact or facts about it. Do you understand now the difference between the two? Yes or no? Is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay, so anyone again from the class would like to give to me a simple difference between extensive and intensive? Please feel free to answer. Anyone who would like again to give a very basic difference between extensive and intensive physical property? Anyone? Okay, can I call Kano to please answer my question?
So for the extensive, they are the physical properties that do depend on the amount of substance present, which the following examples are mass, volume, and length. While the intensive are the physical properties that do not depend on the amount, such as the size, shape, and scale.
Okay, very good. I am so happy that you are really taking notes as we proceed to our lesson. So very good for that. So that is actually the basic difference between the two classification of physical properties. So this time, let me check if you truly understand now the difference between the two. So you will be answering now an individual activity. So we are going again to go back to our Google Classroom because I will be posting now this individual activity about the difference between extensive and intensive property, intensive physical property. Again, please follow the direction. Okay? Para hindi po tayo magkamali. So I will be posting it now. Kindly just check it. Okay? So I'm going to post it to all of the students. Okay? Okay, so I am just going to give you 2 to 3 minutes to answer that individual activity regarding extensive and intensive physical property. So your time starts now. Sir, wala pong attachment. Okay. So if there is no attachment, so we will just base on our presentation. Okay? Okay, so in a scratch paper, please answer this one. Okay, yan na lang po. Can you see it clearly po? Nakikita po ba? Okay. So this time, please get a pen and a paper, please answer it for 2 to 3 minutes. You're just going to determine whether it is intensive or extensive. Okay, if you're done, you can write also your answer in our chat box. 1 minute left. Okay, Donfer is already done. If you're done, as I said, please post it also in our chat box so that I can identify if who among from you are already done answering the activity. So Carl is also done, as well as Irish and also Benedict. Okay, William is also done. Okay, very good for following the instruction. Okay, time's up. Time's up now. So I would like to request, since Donfer is the one who post his answer in our chat box, please read number 1 and give your answer. Donfer. Donfer? Can you hear me, Donfer? Okay, anyone? Okay. If hindi sumasagot or nagre-respond si Donfer, I will be calling now Gilbert. Gilbert, could you please read the first sentence?
The volume of orange juice is 25 ml.
What is ML, by the way? Mobile Legend? Okay, very good. So, what is your answer, Carl? Ay, Gilbert, rather. Okay, so it is extensive. Why do you say it is extensive? Okay, very good for that. Next, for for number 2, Irish, please read the statement.
The color of charcoal.
Okay, mukhang mahina ata ang internet connection ni Irish. Can I request Katrina May?
The color of charcoal is black.
What is your answer?
Intensive, sir.
Why do you say it is intensive?
Because it is in the statement it mentioned the color, so it is the observable characteristic.
Okay, very good for that, Katrina. Next, for number 3, Hazel. Hazel, could you please read the statement number 3?
The total number of battles is 98 pieces.
What is your answer?
Extensive, sir.
Okay, why extensive, Hazel?
Because, sir, it describes the total number of battles.
Okay, very good for that. It is extensive. For number 4, please give me your answer. Susmita May. Susmita, could you please read first? Number 4, Susmita, are you still there? Could you please answer, or could you please read and give your answer? Okay, wala si Susmita. Can I request Samuel? Elijah. Samuel? Samuel? Wala din? Okay, can I request, how about Benedict? Could you please read the statement number 4? Hello? STEM A, are you still there?
Yes, po,
Yes,
sir.
po, sir.
Okay, can anybody from the class who respond na magbasa ng number 4 and give your answer? Sure po. Please.
Lemon juice is
What is your answer?
Intensive po, sir.
Okay, very good. It is intensive. Why?
Because it describes here the taste of the manuscript.
Okay, very good because it describes the taste of the lemon juice. For number 5, anyone who would like to volunteer?
Meter stick length meter stick's length is 1 meter. Extensive, sir.
Okay, why extensive?
It the length was given.
Okay, because the length was given. Very good. So I am so happy to see that all of your answers posted in our chat box are all correct. So you truly understand now the difference between the intensive and extensive physical properties. So thank you so much for that. So this time, let's now discuss the physical properties of matter. By simply looking at these 3 pictures, which are the wood blocks, the metal straws, and styrofoam, how are you going to identify what are you going to do in order for you to easily identify the difference between these 3 solid objects? What will you take into consideration for you to easily identify that this is a wood block, this is a metal straw, and this is a styrofoam? Anyone? How do these 3 objects differ or vary from one another?
The materials po, sir.
Okay, so according to your classmate, they differ when it comes to the materials. Okay, very good. Obviously, they differ on the materials. Okay, how do they differ? Paano po sila nagkakaiba-iba? Could you please give one difference between these 3 pictures? Pareho kaya ang kanilang texture, class? Are their textures the same? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Okay, so according to Hazel, she answered that they differ when it comes to hardness, texture. Very good for that. Aside from that, class, these 3 pictures vary or differ when it comes to density. Okay, so what is density? Do you have already a prior knowledge about what density is? Anyone?
Mass over volume.
Okay, so according to your classmate, when we say density, it is a measure of mass per volume. So actually, you are correct because the average density of an object is equal to its total mass divided by its total volume. So you are actually correct. So let's say, for instance, class, there are 2 substances which are the same on its density. How are we going to identify it easily kung pareho po ang kanilang density? What should we consider? Ano kailangan nating i-take into consideration for us to still identify those objects easily? Do we need an additional data for us to easily identify those objects with the same density? Yes or no? Okay, let me call Joey Bilo. Joey. Joey, are you still there? How about Daniel Alejandro? So what should you consider if there are substances which are the same on its density? Ano ang gagawin natin for us to still easily identify that objects? Do you have any idea about it? How about ribostilio? Wala? Okay, Samantha, could you please give your insights about it? Samantha.
Yes po.
Yes?
If those 2 substances either have the same mass or volume.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So always remember, class, if there are 2 substances which have the same density, the thing that we should do for us to still easily identify those objects is we need an additional data. And what are those additional data that we need? So yan po ang mga susunod na physical property. Okay? Thank you for the response, Samantha. Okay, next. Do you have this at home? Meron po ba kayo nito sa bahay?
Yes po.
Okay, you have. So what are those things? Could you please identify it one by one?
Kettle and frying pan.
Okay, it is a kettle and a frying pan. How do they, what is common with these two objects? Ano bang pareho sa kanila?
Aluminum.
Okay, so if you're going to... Okay, very good. So according to your classmates, they are made up of aluminum. They are conductive. Very good. So actually, these two objects that we have at home differ or is the same because they are both made up of aluminum and iron. Question now, why is this objects made up of aluminum and iron, not other type of metal? Bakit kaya they are made up of aluminum and iron? Do you have any idea? Okay, very good. So because these metals warm up very quickly comparing to other metals para mas madaling maluto yung niluluto natin and for us to easily boil the water. So that is actually the correct answer. So what physical property is observed here? That is now the heating properties. So when we say heating properties, substances respond to heating in different ways. Because according to your classmates, substances which are made up of different metals respond to different heat. Okay? Because some warm up very quickly and others take a long while to increase in the temperature. Okay? So very good for that. So let us now proceed. If I have here two mixtures, the first one is sand added with water, and the second one is sugar added with salt. And if I stir it, which do you think is the mixture that will be dissolved immediately or rapidly? Which among the two mixtures will be dissolved immediately or rapidly? Is it the sand with water or the sugar with water? Anyone?
Sugar with water.
Okay, very good. The sugar with water is the mixture which can be dissolved rapidly or quickly. Why do you say so? Anyone? Why do you think the sugar added in water will dissolve rapidly than sun added to water? Do you have any idea?
Maybe because the sugar is more soluble than the sand.
Exactly the correct answer. Because sugar is more soluble in water than in sand. That's why the third physical property that we are going to discuss is the solubility. So when we say solubility, please read it. Karael, Gilbert.
Solubility is a measure of how much of a substance dissolves in a given volume of a liquid.
Okay, so that is how simple the definition of solubility is. Okay, so always remember, substances vary or differ when it comes to solubility. So sugar is more soluble than sand if we add it to water. The next property. So which among from these two objects is a good conductor? Is it the copper wire or the rubber band? Okay, according to Hazel, she said the copper. Why copper, Hazel, is a good conductor comparing to the rubber bands?
I think so because metal po siya.
Okay, very good. So, as what you have mentioned, copper is a good conductor because it is made up of metal while the rubber band is not. It is not a good conductor. So, this pictures shows to us the fourth property, which is now the electric properties. So, always remember that some substances conduct electricity better than others. So, copper is a good conductor than rubber band. Okay, this means that they allow electric charge to move through them easily. So copper wire is used to carry electricity because it is a good conductor. Materials that do not conduct easily, such as rubber bands and plastics, are used to block the flow of charge. That's why they are not considered as a good conductor. Okay? So is it clear now? Is it clear? Anyone who would like to respond? To respond?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay, so again, let us recall the physical properties that we already discussed. Ano nga po yung unang property? What is the first property I discussed?
Density.
Very good, the density. How about the second one?
Heating property.
Okay, very good, the heating properties. The third one?
Solubility.
Solubility. And the fourth one is the electric properties. So I am very happy again because you are really attentively listening to our discussion, because you you were able to identify those physical properties that we already discussed. So let's proceed to the next one. Okay, so this is one of the group activity answered. Okay, so if I have here iron filings and sand, how can we separate it from one another? So there is already an answer a while ago during the activity. So let us now see if your answer is correct. So any idea again on how we can separate iron filings from the sand? Anyone from the class?
Using magnets, sir.
Okay, very good. By using magnet, we can easily separate the iron filings from the sand. So which do you think from the iron filings and sand will be attracted to the magnet easily? Alin sa dalawa?
Iron filings.
Okay, why do you say it is the iron filings will be attracted more to the magnet?
Because, sir, iron filings is more metallic.
Okay, more metallic. So katulad nga ng sinabi kanina ng output ng isang group, sabi nila, it contains more ferromagnetic property. And that is actually correct. Okay? So this time, the fifth physical property is the magnetic properties. So some substances are attracted to magnets, but others are not. Baka may magtanong sa inyo, sir, yung classmate ko hindi naman siya metal, pero I am attracted to her or him. So that is already a different thing. Okay? Okay, so next one, the elements iron, cobalt, and nickel are magnetic, but copper, aluminum, and zinc are not. So ibig sabihin, class, it doesn't guarantee na kapag metal, lahat po sila ay attracted sa magnet. Hindi po ganon. So there are some metals which are only attracted to magnets, and there are also some which are not. That's why po, kapag magpapakilo tayo ng copper wire sa isang junk shop, kapag dumikit po yung magnet, ibig sabihin, that is not a pure copper, and it will not be accepted doon sa junk shop. Okay? It will be rejected. Hindi ka mabibigyan ng pera niyan. So that is one strategy or technique being used sa junk shop for them to easily identify if it is really a true copper or not. Okay? So next, can we still separate the salt from water on salt solution? How? Can we still separate? Yes. How? Paano po natin Okay, through evaporation process. Aside from it, what do you think is the specific process in order for us to truly separate the salt into water in a salt solution? So that process now, class, is known as the distillation. Okay? So when we say distillation, please read it. Ulysses, could you please read the definition of what distillation is? Ulysses, are you still there? Okay, can I ask for a help coming from Agin Ribustilio? Agin, could you please read the definition of what distillation is? Eugene? Wala din na response. How about William Pamparo?
Mail.
Sige. William?
Distillation is the process of separating substances in a mixture by evaporating a liquid and condensing its vapor.
Okay, thank you so much. So, that is actually the definition of what distillation is. So, always remember, to distill a liquid, it is heated until it vaporizes. Then, the vapors are cooled until they condense. All solid materials is left behind. So always remember, if you're going to separate water to salt in a salt solution, ang matitira po sa loob netong flask na to, if we undergo distillation process, is the salt, while water will evaporate. So, okay? So that is how we simply separate salt in water in a salt solution. Okay? So distillation is used to make drinking water out of salt water. Liquids with different boiling points can be separated by distilling. The mixture is heated slowly until it begins to boil. So those are just some of the physical properties which can help us identify easily a certain substances or matter. So again, how many physical properties I have discussed already? Ilan nga po yun?
6.
Okay, so according to Hazel, there are 6. She answered in our chat box. So ano nga po yung panglima? What is the fifth physical property?
Magnetic property.
Magnetic.
Okay, magnetic property. How about the fourth one?
Electric, sir.
Okay, very good. How about the first physical property?
Density.
Okay, very good. So you are truly listening to our discussion. So this time, before we go on to our discussion about the chemical property, let's have first a 30 seconds break. Okay? Let's pause for a while. After 30 seconds, we are going to continue our discussion. Okay? So yung gustong umihi po, uminom, you may do it now. Okay, sure. So somebody from your classmate is requesting the presentation about the magnetic property. So ito po yun. While we are on a break. Very good. Kasi may talagang nagtitake down notes. Yan po. Okay, so at this juncture, we are going now to resume the discussion. But this time, we will be now focusing on the second property of matter, which is now the chemical property. Okay, so this time, I'd like you again to observe these pictures. And if you're going to notice, these are also the pictures I've used during your group activity. So what you're going to do is, you're going to give one common thing about these three pictures. Anyone from the class? So what is common about these three pictures?
I think, sir, they all undergo chemical change.
Okay, very good. So according to your classmate, they all underwent chemical change. Why do you say so? Bakit mo po nasabi na all of these three pictures underwent physical or chemical change? Why do you say so?
Because, sir, their chemical composition changed.
Is there a new substance formed after? Okay, that is actually the simplest answer. But your answer is also correct. So very good. So one common thing about this picture is all of them or all of these pictures underwent chemical change. And if it undergoes chemical change, it is already considered as chemical properties. Okay? So this time, when we say chemical properties, please read the definition, Alejandro Luis.
Chemical properties is a characteristic or a substance that indicates whether it can be or it can undergo a change that results in a new substance.
Okay, so what is the keyword here, Alejandro, which is written in bold letter? Okay, so always remember, if there is a new substance formed after a reaction that happened to a certain thing, it is already a chemical property. Okay, so that is how simply the definition of chemical property is. Okay, next, how can we detect that chemical change has happened? So yung picture na sunny side up egg, how can you say that there is a change? That's why it is falls under chemical property. Paano mo sabi? How can we easily detect that chemical change has happened? Example, when can you say that the food placed on your table is not anymore safe to eat? Anong ginagawa natin? Anyone?
Through observation po, sir.
Okay, through observation. Pag tiningnan ba natin yung kanin sa mesa without smelling, can we detect na panis na ito or safe pakainin by just simply looking at it? Yes or no? Yes po. Di po. Okay, according to Donfer. So Donfer, what sense, from the five senses, ano yung gagamitin natin for us to easily detect if it is already panis na or hindi na pwede kainin or pwede pa?
Sense of smell po, sir.
Okay, very good. Ano pa po? Pwede man taste. Okay, very good for that. So always remember, class, for us to easily detect if there is a chemical change happen to a certain thing, we are just simply going to use our five senses. And idagdag na din po dyan ang ating common sense. So what are those five senses that we have? The taste, the hearing, the sight, the smell, and the touch. So that is how we can simply identify if there is a change that happened to a thing. And if there is a change in new substance form, it will always fall under chemical property. Okay? So this time, heat, light, and sound are often signs of a rapid energy release and of a chemical change. So always remember, if a certain thing, for example, the food, if it is exposed to too much heat, of course, it will undergo a reaction or chemical reaction. Most probably, the thing that will happen, mababago po ang kanyang composition. That's why there will be a new substance that will be formed. Mapapanis po. That's why will fall also under chemical property. Okay? So that's it about chemical properties. So this time, how can a chemical change be used to separate substances? So paano kaya natin masaseparate ang substance through chemical change? So, substance, basahin nga po yung sagot, Katrina. Could you please read? Sige. According to Katrina, mahina po yung connection niya. All she can see is all black. How about Kisha Faye? Kisha?
Chemical properties. Substances can be separated using a chemical change or different chemical reactions.
Okay, so very good. So always remember, class, every time there is a keywords which are chemical reactions, it is always associated to chemical change. Kapag may chemical change, it will always fall to chemical property. Okay, so yun lang po ang mga keywords natin. For another question, is matter destroyed or created in a chemical change? So sabi nyo kanina, sir, when we say chemical change, there is a new substance formed. Therefore, is matter destroyed or created after a chemical change had happened? Yes or no? Okay, why no? Explain your answer.
Law of conservation, sir.
Okay, very good. Because it is stated in the law of conservation of mass. So, please read the first bullet about it. William.
Law of conservation of mass. First property. Charot. The mass of all the substances before a chemical change equals the mass of substances after a chemical change.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so that is now what is stated on the law of conservation of mass. The mass of all the substances before a chemical change equals the mass of substances after a chemical change. Ibig sabihin, hindi po nababago or hindi po nasisira ang mga composition ng mga elements every time there is a chemical change that had happened. Okay? From the word itself, it is being conserved. Okay? And for the last bullet, pakibasa nga po, Agent Rebustillo. The second bullet, matter. Agent.
Matter is not created or destroyed in a chemical change.
Okay, thank you for that. So always remember that every time there is a chemical change, it will never be destroyed, yung matter. It will just be rearranged, separated, or combined from one another. But the matter itself is still there. That's why it is stated in the law of conservation of mass that every time there is a chemical change, the mass of all the substances is always the same after the chemical change. Okay? So yun po. So this time, let me see if you truly understand our lesson for this morning. So let's have the learning checkpoints. So again, class, what are the two properties of matter? Anyone?
Physical and chemical po, sir.
Okay, very good, Gilbert. The two properties of matter are the physical property and the chemical property. So how are we going to differentiate the two? Please differentiate the two. Alejandro Hall. Daniel Alejandro. Use your own words in giving the definition of what physical property is and chemical property, with your own understanding about the lesson we had for this morning about it. Daniel?
From what I understand po, with the difference between physical property versus chemical property, the changes of the the physical property only changes its physical appearance, while while the without changing its chemical composition, while the chemical ay wait tama ba chemical property,
Yes, please continue.
when it changes the chemical identity of a substance.
Okay, very good for that difference. So you are actually correct. So always remember, class, the most easiest way for us to define and differentiate the two properties of matter. When we say physical, there is only a physical change that had happened, but there is no new substance formed. While chemical property, there is a chemical change that had happened and there is a new substance formed. So ganun lang po kadali ang pagkakaiba ng dalawang properties of matter. So this time, what are the two classifications now of physical property, if you can still recall? Anyone from the class who can give to me the two classifications of physical properties?
Extensive and intensive po, sir.
Pardon please, Gilbert?
Extensive and intensive.
Okay, very good. So I am very happy that Gilbert is very active in our online class this morning. So always remember that the two classifications of it are intensive and extensive. Who among from the class can easily give the difference between the two? Which one depend on the amount? Which one do not depend on the amount of substance? Donfer.
Extensive property depends on the amount of the substance, while intensive property do not depends on the amount of the substance.
Okay, very good. So always remember, when we say extensive, it depends on the amount of the substance, while intensive do not depend on the amount of the substance present. So very good for that, Donfer. So this time, what are again those 6 physical properties that we have mentioned a while ago? Could you please give me one physical property?
Density.
Very good. The first one is density. How about the second one?
Heating process.
Property.
Okay, the heating properties. How about the third one?
Solubility.
Solubility. The fourth one? Okay, the electric properties. The fifth one,
Magnetic.
Magnetic.
magnetic properties. And the last one is distillation. So very good. You are now really familiar with the 6 physical properties of matter. So very good for that. So this time, before we proceed to our evaluation for this morning, let us first give one environmental problem or issue that we can solve by applying the lesson that we had for today. So our subject matter for this morning is general chemistry, and the most essential learning competency that we just discussed is the use of properties of matter to identify and separate them. So what environmental problem or issue can we solve with the use of the concepts you have learned for this morning?
Waste segregation.
Okay, so according to Donfer, the waste segregation. Very good. The very good application of it is the Republic Act 9003, which mandates the proper segregation and collection of household wastes, because this time the garbage collector are not anymore collecting our wastes if it is not properly segregated. So we should practice proper segregation. Aside from it, ano pa po ba ang application ng ating lesson for this morning? So this is just one of the best application of it. Are there still other issues that we can solve using using the concepts that you have learned for this morning? Wala na po ba? Wala na? How about class sa dagat?
Water, sea to drinking water, plants po, sir, yung from seawater to drinkable water.
Yes, very good. As what I have mentioned a while ago, distillation process can be used in order for the salt water to become a purified water, 'di ba? So yun ang process na ginagamit natin. And aside from it, yung oil spill. So kapag nagkaroon po ng oil spill sa dagat, we can easily separate the oil from the seawater. There is just a process of it. Tama po ba? So those are just some of the applications that about our lesson for this morning. Okay? So before we commence to our evaluation for this morning, let me first go back to your group activity, because I will be giving now the scores of each group. So if you're going to notice, the answer of group number 1 here are all correct. That's why all of the members of the group will receive a perfect 20 points, as well as also to the work or output of group 2. They all got the correct answer. The presenter presented well the topic or the output, as well as to the work of group 3. So in short, all of the members of each group will receive a perfect score of 20. So congratulations for a job well done. So this time, please go back again to our Google Classroom. I will be posting now the evaluation. Okay? So you will just be given 3 to 5 minutes to answer it. Okay? Okay, please start answering now your evaluation. Remember, please do not forget to click submit. Tapos po, yung question number 5, kailangan nyo po ng short answer. Okay? You need to write a short answer for number 5. So the total points for this is 5. So please take note that the question for numbers 1 to 4 is a multiple choice item. So you're just going to tick your answer. But for number 5, you're going to write your short answer. Okay, there is already one who is done. Okay, Kishafe get 4/4. The number 5, I will be the one who will check it po. Very good, Kisha. Gilbert also got 4/4. Very good. Next, William got also 4/4. Very good also. The fourth one to submit is Donfer. You got also 4/4. Very good. So you only have 1 minute left to submit your evaluation. The fifth one to submit is Alejandro. You got also 4/4. Very good. Okay. Rafael also. Rafael just only got 3/4. You are wrong with question number 3. Ang sinagot mo po, melting of ice. The answer should be burning of paper. Melting of ice is not an example of chemical change. Okay? However, still a good score. Okay, Daniel Alejandro got 4/4. Very good. Benedict, 4/4 also. As well as Carl Vincent, 4/4. Agin got 3/5. Okay, mali si Agin sa pangalawang tanong. Okay, you got 3/4. Makikita po ninyo kung ano po yung mga pagkakamali nyong item. Okay, time's up now. So, why is it that there are only 10 responses sent or submitted? Okay, so I am so happy that the scores you got in our short quiz is still passed. Okay, 11. Okay, Paula, 4/4 also, very good. Aldrich also got, Aldrich got 3/4. You're also wrong with number 3. Okay, Samantha got 4/4. Very good. Hazel got also 3/5. Okay, for number 15 students who sent, Jessica, you get 4/4 also. Very good. Okay, for those who failed to send the evaluation, please make sure to send it before we end the session. Okay? So, at this point, please go back again to our... by the way, let us now answer the question para alam natin. Okay? Who would like to answer number 1? Okay, Donfer, could you please read the first question and give your answer? Donfer? Which?
From the two properties of matter helps you describe an object or substance.
What is the answer?
Physical property.
Okay, very good. You are right. Next, for question number 2, please read, Benedict, and give your answer.
Which among the physical properties can be used to identify these substances, woods, plastics, and steel? Density, sir.
Okay, density is correct. Very good, David. Next, for number 3, please read your answer, Rafael. Rafael? What is your answer?
The answer must be burning of paper.
Okay, very good. Rafael, you are right. Next, for question number 4, Samantha Culin. Please read and give your answer.
How can we separate aluminum can from steel cans? By its magnetic properties.
Okay, very good. Because as we all know, not all metals are attracted to magnets. So aluminum is not attracted to magnet while steels are. That's why we can separate it with the use of the magnet. Very good. Okay, for number 5, who can give to me one actual scenario at home where you can use the properties of matter to identify and separate substances? Anyone who would like to share their answers?
Opo, sir, not sure kung tama.
Okay, please share.
Ang nilagay ko po dun, sir, is the filtration of pancit canton noodles to separate it from the water.
Very good. That is a very good examples that we actually perform at home. So, when we cook pancit canton, para makain natin, we should separate it from the boiling water. Very good for that. Another example na ginagawa natin sa bahay. Anyone? Yes, Ajin?
Ginagawa din ito ng iba, pero sa amin, before we cook rice, yung ginagamitan muna namin na magnet yung rice and this matanggal yung mga particles of rock.
Yes, very good. Tama po. So actually, most of us are doing it para mas masarap yung kakainin natin na bigas. Okay? At mas malinis. Okay, so very good for those shared scenario that you are performing or doing at home, wherein there is an application of our lesson for this morning. So I am very happy that you really understand our lesson for this morning. So at this juncture, please go back again to our Google Classroom because at this point, I will be now posting your assignment. Okay? So your assignment, class, I will read it first. You're going to cite more environmental issues that we can address by using the things you have learned to our discussion today. For the second one, you are going to make a digital poster on how we can conserve and protect our Earth using the applications of our lesson for this morning. And for number 3, for more learnings of our lesson, just visit the site given. Okay? So yan po ang inyong assignment and please submit it by Monday. Nakuha po ba yung assignment? Nakuha po ba yung assignment? Okay, so this time, as what I have told you a while ago, I will be checking also your attendance before we end the session with the use of our Meet Attendance Collector. So I am going now to download to see if who are those students who joined our meeting for this morning. Okay. Okay, so these are now the attendance for today's session. So there are 34 pero I am going to count later on kung ilan po yung students dyan because some of them are observers from the division office and heads of our school. So, yan po ang attendance natin. Okay? Okay, so I guess that's about everything this morning, class. So again, I am your General Chemistry 1 teacher, Sir Johnis T, saying thank you for your full cooperation and active participation. Thank you so much and have a nice day.